Welcome, everyone. My name is Tim Mikhelishvili. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Amadea Pharma, an analytics and management consulting company that helps life science organizations improve their performance and management using a proprietary medical productivity index, as well as novel medical affairs communications playbooks that reward both performance and scientific thinking. Sportsmanship is at the core of what Amadea Pharma is focused on. And I'm very pleased to have my two friends, colleagues, senior experts in medical affairs with diverse experience here today, Scott Alexander and Chirag Correa. They're joining me from Canada to talk about an event that is going to bring some excitement to medical affairs. Scott, Chirag, welcome to LinkedIn Live, and we're live on YouTube as well. Why don't you introduce yourselves to the audience? Scott.
Sure. Thank you very much, Tim. It's a pleasure to have been invited to speak with you guys today. And hello, everyone. I'm Scott Alexander. I'm a physician by training, but I now work as an MSL with AAA and Novartis in Canada, based out of Vancouver. I also act as the Canadian chapter co-lead for MAPS, or the Medical Affairs Professional Society. But today, I'm not representing Novartis. I'm here on my own, and the views that I'm going to express are of myself. So I look forward to help kicking this off today. Chirag?
Perfect. Thanks. Such a pleasure to be here and sharing platform with both of you. So I'm a pharmacist by profession, and then I went ahead and did my PhD in toxicology. I have worked on investigator-initiated trials, clinical trials management, operations, and KOL engagement as well. And like Scott, also I'm the views and insight I would be sharing would be about my own.
Yeah, thank you. That's very important. And I think to mention, as we change the norms of our communication, but yet stay compliant with our companies that we're representing. Why don't we get into this event immediately, and then I'll take some questions from many of you who are joining. I know a lot of our colleagues are interested in the event. The registration for it are already open. So I'll place some of that information in the comments, but please, this is the time to ask us questions. I'll start with the title. The title of this event is Medical Affairs Innovation Olympics. There's the words Olympics in the title because the Olympic spirit is one that redefines competition and really places it in the context of collaboration, in that spirit that is difficult to mimic, but yet that we all look forward to, because it's the only time when the entire world really comes together for a positive spirit and sportsmanship, where our competition is celebrated and our accomplishments and achievements as well. The event will be taking place September 15th through October 23rd. And the slogan that I've chosen is to dare to share for our healthcare. As we've already begun to change the speed, to increase the speed with which we share ideas, as well as the variety of the information we share with each other via LinkedIn, via different outlets and channels, we're going to continue to create new momentum for medical affairs, because innovation takes courage, I believe, and takes some risk in order to build upon these ideas. And it's when we share them across our companies that we really understand their relevance. Also, here is a quote from Captain Sully Sullenberger, a pilot who's able to save hundreds of passengers' lives by changing the conventional norms and by landing his plane on the Hudson River. He says, to innovate is simply to change before you're forced to. And that's what I hope that this event will be able to inspire many of us to do, to anticipate change. And this is why I think we'll be able to accelerate the forward flow of ideas and to evaluate them also transparently. as I'll share with you some of the rules and some of the evaluation structure in this event, in which you won't have any questions to understand why someone won an award. You'll be able to participate actively. You'll contribute as an attendee, as an active spectator, or as a competitor, and you'll see how one idea, an original idea, evolves over time, is enhanced over time, and also how it is evaluated by others, how it's perceived by others, many of your colleagues in your company as well as in others. And I think the third reason why we're going to share our ideas across different companies is because we're going to be able to understand how to scale how relevant they are globally. If something works in a medical devices or in a different function, you'll be able to entertain the idea that it could also work in yours as well. So these are some of the premises of behind this meeting, and why it's that hackathons or think tanks, as they're often called, they are great to have inside of your companies, but also once we include that competitive format to innovation, I think we can improve the quality of our submissions, and also increase the collaboration as well in that Olympic spirit. Here's the overview of the event. The registration opened this Monday, August 15th. You can follow my website, amadevpharma.com. I'll put it in the ticker on the bottom after I'm finished showing some of these slides. And so we have about 27 days until that competitive. The event will begin on September 15th, and there'll be an opening ceremony. I have some surprises heading your way. So when I say that some excitement is coming to medical affairs, I'm not exaggerating. We'll have a two-time Olympian swimmer, Chirag Scott, who'll be joining, who confirmed. He'll be on one of the panelists on the opening day, and we'll have some other leaders as well, some of our senior executives as well. And we have an industry all-star panel of expert judges who are eager to hear your opinions, your ideas as well. So make sure to follow this event, and as well as the Amadev Pharma, where I'll be sharing some of the updates constantly for the next month. I put the ticker as I promised here in the bottom. All right, and let's see if there are any questions. Post them here. Scott, Chirag, I'll ask for some of your opinions in a few minutes here, but let's continue looking at how the event is structured. So September 15th, after the opening ceremony, that's when some of the competition will begin. Okay, when you'll be able to share your ideas, submit them, you'll comment, you'll edit your ideas, you'll have unlimited opportunities to edit your ideas, because that's how ideation takes place, right? An idea comes to you, but often some of the best ideas are the ones that you work on after a round of edits and iterations. And so you'll have some of the best experts from across the globe to provide you with feedback. So at the end of 2 weeks, on September 30th, will be the voting. Voting that will take place for 24 hours in order to make sure that everyone will get a chance to vote across the different time zones, judges, as well as the attendees or active spectators. Half the field will be eliminated, but will be able to still vote and will still be eligible for some special recognitions and awards. And so then for the next 2 weeks, you'll get a chance to still work on your idea, so and enhance it. At the end of this month, right at October 14, the second 2-week period, there'll be another vote where judges will be voting again, and they won't see how attendees are voting, nor vice versa. and I'll explain how the vote will be calculated later. But at the end of this 1 month, in this private forum, asynchronous private forum that's going to take place online, we will determine 4 semifinalists across 4 different categories within our function of medical affairs. And October 20th through 23rd, then the competition takes on a different format. It changes from an online asynchronous format into a live stream debates. This is when you'll be able to debate in real time your ideas. You'll be able to share a new version of that idea. We receive feedback from your competitors, challenge in a form of a challenge or a comment or a question, as well as from the Q&A from the attendees. And you'll see how you're doing in the votes in real time. And only the final votes at the end of that session will be the one that will be counted. And so over the course of 4 days, this asynchronous event culminates in these series of live stream debates, which will determine the winners, the gold medalists, and top idea of the year winners from this event. What are the categories? Well, they're evidence generation, scientific communication, field medical affairs, and operations. These are the first 4 events that will be contested in this first inaugural annual Olympic event. So again, this is the overview of the event format, and here are the categories. And I've listed some of the subspecialties under each category here. So,
Tim,
let me ask you a question. Yes, Chirag and Scott, what do you think about the categories? Are we? Yeah, go ahead, Chirag.
Oh no, your slides are not showing up, so probably.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. Here is the slide that I was speaking from. Yeah, so these are the event categories, everyone. Event generation, scientific communication, field medical, and operations. Now, I tried to capture some of the examples in order to stimulate many of you working in different fields of medical affairs. What are some other specialties that you think are some of our colleagues who are working in pharma and medical devices should consider registering, and how should they consider registering their ideas, in your opinions?
I think that's a very good question, Tim. And from my perspective, I know as a medical affairs team, you're not just working with yourself. You have a lot of cross-functional and cross-collaborative projects on the go. So in this case, things like clinical development or some of the preclinical stuff, there's aspects of that I think would fit in well. But I think even within the defined categories you have here, for example, myself as a medical science liaison, yes, ideally I fit in that field medical category. But on my day-to-day, I also have hands-on in evidence generation and scientific communication, and maybe an aspect of operations. So while you're kind of seeing the breakdown here of the different categories and who might fit where, I would encourage anyone who's interested in participating to really think kind of outside that box and not pigeonhole yourself to just one category, but think of where else you might be interested in taking this and expand on some of those ideas that as a company you get really close to. And in this format, I think getting some expert opinion from outside of the box may be able to help evolve some of those things and take it back to your company. So I would encourage anybody who has any kind of relevance in medical affairs to try to think outside that box, take a step away from what you do on your day-to-day to really dive into this and get in that nature of competition.
Yeah, I think that's very important because our companies are structured differently, our medical affairs organizations, and so I encourage you to really, again, like Scott put it best, be creative and think of not just your own function and maybe redefine your function, but submit ideas where you think they will be relevant. But for your organization, for your competitors, and also for medical affairs. Yes. All right. So just to show those of you who may have not seen this slide, this is the overview, okay, the timeline of the flow of the event again that I was showing earlier. The registration, opening ceremony, round 1, round 2, right, September. So these are the key dates you need to remember. September 15th is when it starts, an online private forum for those who register. And then it turns into that live stream debate format, which will be very exciting, I think, for many of us, because we don't often debate ideas in across companies. Yes, we have expert panels, but we don't always get real-time feedback, I think. Chirag and Scott. So that's, I think, it's a very unique format of ideation that when I thought about this, the design of this event, I wanted to incorporate all the qualities of ideation, of the process of learning and development, of competition, performance review, in the form of real-time feedback that I think belong in a modern organization of tomorrow and also of today. And also these are the topics that I speak and write about and also offer as services as Amadea Pharma as well. So what do you think about the debate format? Do you think that it's going to be challenging? How should we encourage a lot of our peers to be courageous, to dare to share, in a time when we're not often used to receiving feedback, right? How would you encourage some of your friends, for example, and colleagues, guys, to be open to get to that, the stage and do well, do their best?
Yeah, for me, I think it's important to share because that's how you can actually learn and get a positive feedback. So if you don't share your ideas, you would never know what the blind spot might be behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's quite important, to share and learn and see how you can better refine your own ideas. The chances are that what you're thinking about, somebody may have thought and implemented, and you could learn from that experience as well. So if there are any gaps, any mistakes which would have happened or which can happen, you can avoid that. So I think that's important to debate pros, cons, and then at the end of the day, the ideas we generate is for the betterment of patient care. So I think, as much as you can learn, share, you are doing a great deed by improving patient care.
Yeah.
I think it's really important, Chirag. Like keeping the patient in mind is really what we do in medical affairs. But I think rewinding back to the beginning is just embracing that vulnerability. In order to grow, you need to have that growth mindset. And by putting yourself out there to just propose an idea is a great first step. And in this case, you're in a forum where you're going to get a lot of constructive feedback by people who have either been there, done that, had a similar idea, or you've just created a light bulb for a lot of conversation around it. And I think this format's going to be really interesting for it because you have the opportunity to do it asynchronously, which we know in our evolving fast-paced world is really hard to hammer down time to do things in real time. So this forum, to have a little bit of online debate, will help evolve those ideas. But then at the end of it, if we make it far enough in the competition to have those real in-person debates, I think will really strengthen the ideas. And I think by being an active participant, you'll have a lot of takeaway because you'll be able to take a glimpse of this project or that project if you're not participating yourself, but you're just being an evaluator, right, to then bring it back to your own company and try to implement something day to day. So by putting yourself out there and just raising your hand, I think is an incredible first step here.
Yeah. Yep, fully agree. So let's, as you can see, I cannot wait to hear your comments on the event. But first, for those who are joining, I'm going to continue to tell them what they need to do in order to register, what makes them qualify, of course. And so, as you can see here, all the idea submissions will remain the sole intellectual property of their authors. So rest assured, you will retain full ownership of your ideas here. It's not going, like one of my mentors, Dr. Jeffrey Borer, cardiologist, interventional heart failure expert, and also cardio-renal advisory board member of the FDA, mentioned, if you want to be happy in life, he said, you don't worry about getting credit for an idea. But rest assured, even if that is a concern, and that, and it may be relevant, right, in our industry, where intellectual property is of utmost concern, you will retain full ownership. In fact, you may benefit from an improvement of that idea, enhancement of idea, not only full ownership, but maybe even enhancement of that idea. And I think the second fundamental rule here that I've listed is that all participants agree to disagree. They have to come in being vulnerable, like Scott mentioned. All right, but they cannot be indifferent about innovation. So the people, I think, that will want to register will actively participate, will be open to debate and evaluating each other in the sportsmanship, in the spirit of sportsmanship, Olympic spirit. So if you currently work in medical affairs, if you are a contractor or volunteer in an organization, or if you've ever worked in pharma, you can register for this meeting. The registration types, so you can register as a competitor, as a speaker, or as a judge. And the judges will be by invite only. They've already been predetermined. I have some expert judges in the industry, many of you who will recognize. Now, what should you be submitting? Well, this idea can be a case study. It has to be original. It can be a solution to a problem, concept, a study design. It can be a personal position statement. It doesn't have to have data or results necessarily. It can be something that bothers you, for example, right? That you want to improve, that you want to change. This is the place. This is the setting for you to submit those types of ideas. And again, the guidance or the guidelines that we want you to have are just think about how does it benefit your organization. At the end of the month, once you commit some of that time to this event, in this competition, how can you bring some valuable insights back to your organization or to your business, to others as well throughout the meeting, as well as to help advance the medical affairs function. Those are the three key goals. Again, the ideas should not be proprietary. They should not include any product or therapeutic area specific information. Okay, so unless it's in the public domain, right? So you can only include that product specific information in your idea if it's in the public domain, or if you own it, own the rights to it. And we recommend for you to approve those ideas by your management prior to the event. One person can submit up to 4 ideas, 1 in each category. So that goes back to Scott's suggestion there. If you work as an MSL, but you've been working with other functions extensively, and you want to suggest maybe a different interaction policy with that function, with clinical development, with sales, with commercial, and you have a concept for how that interaction or that channel interaction should be, you're welcome to do it. But you're going to be limited to 1 idea per category. So every single person will be able to submit up to 4 ideas. Word documents should be submitted as PDFs. You can submit a presentation, video recordings up to 5 minutes, as well as a live stream session that you can also post a link to. If you have something that is pending results, for example, then some of the best ideas begin with questions, with the right questions. And that's why you should submit your hypothesis with or without results. Okay, a concept, even if it's a work in progress. All right. Chances are you're going to get some different ways to publish or to discuss its limitations, or how to do post hoc analyses for it, for example, as well. So this is why there's no strict limitation to your idea that you can submit. It's not limited to having conclusions. And again, you'll be able to feed off of the comments and change your ideas and replace your original ideas and submit them. We're going to use the Hoover app. It's very simple to use. It's a web and smartphone meeting app that you'll download. And I'm hoping to finalize the agenda by tomorrow. So not only is the registration page going to be on my website and here on LinkedIn, but also the entire event website, and will be available on the app by the end of this week. Here's some information on the evaluation format. The expert judges have been given 5 different criteria to judge the submissions upon. And however, the judges' scores will contribute 50% to the final score. And all of you attendees who will register as active spectators, your votes will also count for half of the final score. All right. This is competition. This competition is not only an Olympic competition, but it's also a festival of ideas where you get to showcase your ideas and ideation and various different efforts and activities and best practices. All right. So, and that's why it's not a competition between individuals. It's a competition of ideas. It's a celebration of ideas. And that's why one of the organizers that has been working with me very closely, was also an expert judge, had suggested this last point that I mentioned there, right? A reminder to please base your voting on the merits of the submission and not the author. Okay? These are the criteria in more detail. Validity, right, which is very important. It's fundamental. How relevant is this idea, or is this personal position statement to the problem? How does it address the value to the author's own organization, others, or medical affairs? How does it correlate to the intended outcome? Its predictability, the extent to which it causes a desired outcome, or its causality, and originality as well, or novelty. And how likely is it to be integrated into the real world? And how representative is it of a diverse population of patients, employees, customers, for example? Its applicability. So validity, predictability, causality, novelty, and applicability will be the criteria based upon all of us attendees, and judges will be voting. So the key dates we already went over: August 15th, September 15th. So it's a 1 month, that a little bit less than a month we have until the live stream kickoff, the opening ceremony. 2 weeks after which we'll conclude the round 1. Top 10 competitors, or half the field, depending on how many attendees we have, will then go on to the next round. And then the next round the second round of this online forum will conclude on October 14th. Then a little bit more detail here on the final round. October 20th will only require about 4 hours of your time. It will consist of 2 live streams in which we will contest in 2 categories, 2 of the 4 main event categories. Each of these live streams will take about 2 hours. During which time you'll have a chance to present your latest version of that idea and receive real-time voting. Again, 2 of the finalists, 2 of the 4 in each category, then go on to the final. Okay, and the final will be on October 22nd in these 2 categories. October 21st will be 2 more live streams, according to the same rules as above. And again, out of those 4 in each category, 2 will then advance to the finals. And so these finals will be divided into Saturday and Sunday, October 22nd, in 2 events when it'll only be 2 people. So it'll be a very interesting debate there with just 2 people competing for the gold medal and top idea of the year in each category. And then October 23rd, the same thing. Each of these will now take about an hour. And then we'll have a closing ceremony session. What are the awards? Well, those of you who are going to win will be featured in a MAPS Innovate article. MAPS is a tremendous organization that all 3 of us are affiliated with. And that personally, for me, that has helped me really learn a lot of different aspects of my industry. Even though I had already been quite experienced in medical affairs, about 15 years when I came into MAPS, in the last 4 years, just by networking with you two, with the others, with a lot of other colleagues and experts, and attending a lot of the webinars and global meetings, has enriched my understanding of how my function connects to others as well. So, and it has added a lot of fulfillment and purpose. So we'll have people from our leaders from MAPS also speak and address the attendees and competitors as well during the meeting. So those are the awards. Let's just show everyone here what the runners-up will get also. So the silver medalist will receive a free full-year MAPS membership sponsored by Amadeus Pharma, and also 1 full year of MAPS mentorship, in which you will have 6 monthly hourly meetings with 2 mentors for the duration of 1 year. If you're already currently a MAPS member, then you will receive an equivalent value in either as a cash award or as a discount on upcoming MAPS Masterclass, which are amazing deep dives into the different specialties that we have in our function. Those of you who are going to win the bronze medal or the losing semifinalists who won't advance to the Saturday, Sunday finals will also be featured, as well as all of the finalists, all of the semifinalists, in a blog article on Amadeus Pharma, summarizing the event. And there will be a series of All Out Coach podcast episodes. All Out Coach is a leadership, company culture, mentorship, and pharma podcast, in which I've interviewed many Business 500, Fortune 500 executives in pharma and beyond. And so you will be featured in those podcasts as well. And rest assured, there will be special awards as well. All right. So these are going to be in the form of certificates and announcements upon which judges and attendees will also vote. They'll choose those ideas that have particular qualities that make them attractive and worthy of recognition as well, if not winning the entire event. All right. So there will be reasons for you as competitors as well as attendees to be very active, to participate, and to really to transform the excitement that we have into products of value for all of you and for our function ultimately. So why should you participate? Well, this will be a hands-on brainstorming session, an event, a series of sessions, and a forum. You'll be able to accelerate your idea forward flow through real-time feedback, and you'll also have access to discussion notes on demand for about a month after the event ends, in which case you'll be able to revisit some of the ideas and conversations and questions or challenges that may have occurred or surfaced. And also, like that, quote, that innovate is to change before you're forced to. You'll be able to anticipate problems with greater speed and with efficiency. And whether or not there are some restrictions currently, you'll be able to discover some of the best practice in ideal world scenarios to refine and scale your ideas as well. At this time, you can also sponsor the event, and there are 3 tiers, 3 levels of sponsorship. In which case you can have a showcase page, have a banner for a month. So Amadev Pharma is inviting a lot of the innovative companies and agencies that are providing some amazing novel solutions to medical affairs as well to consider supporting this event. And so we are redefining, I think, with the format of this event, the process of ideation, from creating to editing and then to inspiring others to move and shake and to make the right decisions. Okay, we're also gamifying medical affairs because ultimately we practice what we play. Right? I changed this quote by Benjamin Franklin, which it says, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." Change that to "play together and we learn," because chances are it's when you engage with your colleagues, whether in a competitive environment or a collaborative one, that you remember some of the techniques you may have picked up when you competed and when you played as well. So we're going to be much more likely to apply what we learned through this competition format. That's the hypothesis, and that I think is what I've experienced and what I want to recreate. As I've thought about some of my most memorable highlights from my career, Chirag and Scott, and some of the internal ideation events that I've been a part of at AstraZeneca, for example, and others. And so this ultimately is, I think, the product, right, that we're hoping for, right, to be able to redefine this spectrum of ideation, of innovation, from competing to collaborating and to innovating. Okay, because I think when you create and when you compete is when you feel closest and most engaged to others and most alive as well. Not only do you bring to life new ideas, but you feel your presence and alive, right? You cannot escape or hide the excitement that you have, or the enthusiasm, for example, or the drive to win. And that's why we were looking for some of the best ideas in medical affairs globally, ones that you'll keep and you'll be able to edit and enhance, collaborate to flow forward, and then ultimately to innovate, to inspire others, guys. So those are some of the images that I hope will inspire you, my friends. This is the ultimate call to action here: to dare to share, be courageous, and be able to, in order to help your organization and medical affairs be competitive and relevant in a very uncertain and rapidly changing environment. What are some of your impressions, Chirag, Scott? I know that we share this excitement, but I think this excitement in the product is going to depend on our attendees. We're going to submit ideas, and we're going to probably also vote. So, and any thoughts here, or any calls to action to some of our friends and colleagues?
I would encourage people from all walks of life to present their ideas. It doesn't have to be somebody who's an investigator or it could be nurses. It could be the people who are involved in patient care. You may have an idea, and it would be great to hear about them, debate about them.
And I think that's also part of the intrigue of this whole competition is you may just have an idea that you haven't really well defined. This forum will give the opportunity to try to figure it out, but also evolve it as it goes along. So what you're submitting in that first round may not be, it may just have the scaffolding as your final product if you make it so far as the next round or the finals. But it gives you that chance to really go through that creative, innovative process to take an idea, to a product at the end. And I think that's very exciting. So again, just putting on that cap of vulnerability and just putting yourself out there, I think is going to allow you to be in a situation where, yep, you get feedback, but you're starting to network. You're starting to evolve what you have personally outside of your community. And I think that that's going to be a very beneficial thing for anybody choosing to participate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I'm pulling up here very quickly is just a glimpse, a preview of the web app that you're going to be able to see once you register. Okay. So just one moment. So here we have the homepage. All right, the homepage that you'll be able to have access to once you register. Some of the agenda. All right. So, for example, September 15th will be, the times will be changed here, but you'll notice that September 30th, for example, is the live poll. All right. And during this live poll, based on your ticket, your type of registration, whether or not you're a judge or you're an attendee, you'll have different sessions that you'll have to click on in order to access that poll. All right, so you won't see how others are voting. So in order to minimize the bias here, all right? And so now the ideas will be populated in a separate section, very easy to access. So I submitted one just because of, this is a study that I have already published as a poster. No worries, I will not be submitting any ideas. I'm just the organizer, so I'll be taking this down before this goes live. But for the demonstration purposes only, this is how it's going to look to you in the app. So this is a poster type of registration, but I also have a video, so you can have both a PDF and a video that you can submit. So in this video here is just a simple 8-second intro to All Out Coach, just for demonstration purposes. But you can have up to a 5-minute video here as well as a PDF. All right. And there's going to be a community, board. And under each of the ideas, you'll also be able to, of course, share comments, and read some of the questions here in the chat as well. All right. There's the sponsors as well who are going to be featured here in this banner, and they're going to have their showcase page as well. So Amadev Pharma, for example, my company is the sponsor of this event, and if you choose to sponsor, you'll have your dedicated space here as well. Those are some of the previews. You'll see more very soon, before the end of this week, my friends. Just want to ask what your experience has been before with any meetings, innovation or ideation meetings internally, if any. Have you been a part of them before at your companies or in your career? And
I would say, yeah, at a previous company, we had something very similar internally, really? Up to a global level, but it was all in the lens of that company. So I think this one will be interesting because we're now just taking the idea and not a specific proprietary idea and trying to evolve it. So it'll be exciting to get different perspectives from different fields within medical affairs, but also different company ideas that are not proprietary brought to that lens, essentially. So I think this will be very exciting.
Yeah. Shirag?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have been, in meetings where we have discussed the innovation when it comes to implementation of the research, who your stakeholders are, how do you engage them, things like that. And with those discussions, novel ideas, you come across novel ideas, and you debate over that what would work. For the idea is to make sure what would work at that moment going forward. So I think it's important to be part of those discussions.
Yeah, I've chose to replicate that kind of brainstorming and ideation because, as I mentioned, I remember starting out my career, and when I was at AstraZeneca, we were a team of 200 MSLs, medical science liaisons, in our one therapeutic area in cardiology, during the time when Crestor was competing against Lipitor, highest prescribing statin for cholesterol, and we had a 3-month ideation ideation bank, it was called, I remember, where we competed with each other we submitted ideas, we received feedback, and I remember just kind of, really that was like a very creative kind of outlet, for many of us, one in which we collaborated on a different level, on a different dimension with each other. And so and so I've seen some great examples of that done internally, and hopefully, as more companies are becoming more courageous and faster and probably more efficient with sharing information, such as Pfizer, Boehringer Ingelheim, Bayer, who are doing LinkedIn lives regarding precision medicine and AI, and sharing some, including proprietary data even, or best practices in a public setting, or training other companies on good clinical practices to improve patient recruitment, quality of clinical trials, as Boehringer Ingelheim did, for example. They chose LinkedIn Live, just like we're doing here, in a very uncharacteristic channel that was new at the time for pharma, in order to demonstrate their initiative, in which they had allocated a lot of their resources and staff to mentor and to essentially train other companies who are competitors, but who may become their partners as well in the future. So I think it's a very forward-thinking, initiative that I've seen done already by companies like those, as well as podcasts, patient podcasts, that are publicly available. That Pfizer has done, and Eli Lilly, for example, the Elixir podcast, and I think there's an antigen podcast as well, I think it's called, by Pfizer. And so we're building on that momentum, and we're, I think, accelerating how we share ideas. We're blurring the lines also between competition and collaboration and innovation across different time zones. I'm glad that both of you have been my guest here, and you'll be participating. I believe, have you registered? I believe you have registered, right, for the meeting?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'm looking forward to sharing this with your friends, with your networks. Guys, this is going to be a very exciting event. There's going to be great speakers, a lot of important ideas, and it's a free event also. For 1 month, let's focus on some innovation to set the right tone for 2023, as this year is coming very quickly to an end. So a lot of excitement coming your way this fall, my friends. We look forward to you participating. Tomorrow I'm going to be posting as soon as the website goes live and I finalize the agenda, make those corrections there of the times. You'll know about it, my friends. So any other final words from my guests, Scott, Chirag?
Just looking forward to seeing what ideas everyone has, and thank you very much, Tim, for including us in this presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. And Chirag, sorry.
I echo what Scott said. I'm looking forward to learning from all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great day, rest of the day, and more to come. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.